Is there a defense that can match the 49ers offense?
Yeah, I don't think there's many. What you're talking about is the way that the game is built is too high safeties. You know, the game is built to stop the team that wins a Super Bowl or is winning multiple Super Bowls. And in that case, it's Patrick Mahomes and it's the Kansas City Chiefs. So the league is kind of adapted to that. What the 49ers have done, and we've talked about it for a couple of years, but when the league is zigging, they've been zagging, which is brilliant. It works to their favor most of the time. But usually the teams that catch up to you the quickest are the division opponents because what they're doing is they're building their team to win the division. And then they worry about the rest of it when they get to the playoffs. But you want to win your division first. If there's any team, in my opinion, that can match up with the 49ers, and I'm not saying stop the 49ers, but matches up the best, I actually do think it's the Seattle Seahawks. And I think it's the Seattle Seahawks for multiple reasons. So people are going to look at raw numbers, but we have to remember that Tyreek Woolen, Devin Witherspoon, they've each missed a game already this year. They're two very high-level corners. Jamal Adams has played 9 snaps, something like that. And that was in the last game. He got a concussion and then was out again. But when you look at Seattle, they've built themselves to match up with the 49ers. They've got 2 elite corners, which means Ayuk, doesn't matter what side, you can't hide Ayuk from anything because he's going to go up against an elite corner, whether it's Woolen or Witherspoon. That's number 1.
Right. Yep.
Number 2, they play 3 safety sets when everybody's healthy. They went out and got a very good free agent safety in Love and added him to the team. And everybody's like, well, why would you do that? You have 2 starting safeties. Well, that's because in the perfect world, Adams is basically an extra linebacker for them. So the way that they see it is, okay, we got guys like Wagner, who in the run game can match Christian McCaffrey, but who can match him in the pass game? Well, that's why we go and get Love. And then guess what? We have the perfect single high robber safety in Quandre Diggs, who's arguably the best in the league at playing single high. So you got your robber guy, you got your CMC guy in the pass game. Then who's in a guard George Kittle in the pass game? Well, that's Jamal Adams. He's your linebacker. Sure. He's your hybrid player. Right. He's your blitzer, and he's your George Kittle guy. So when I look at the way that the Seattle Seahawks are built, they're actually built for the 49ers. And the other thing that we have to remember about them is they've played Brock Purdy twice now. They have more intel than anybody else in the league on Brock Purdy in this short career of his. They had a very good game plan going into that playoff game, but it didn't work. Why? Because they didn't have the horses. Now they have the horses. I think they're the one team that can match up with this offense as well as anybody. Not saying they can stop it, but that is the one team that I think can give the 49ers a little bit of problems.
Very interesting. And I like how you broke it down from the back end, looking at the cornerbacks first and the DBs and the safeties. That was very interesting because the team I'm going to mention is for the opposite reason. I'm going to say Philly, because Philly is one team in the NFC that can really dominate the trenches against the Niners. Like, they're not just good at rushing the quarterback. They're big too. Jalen Carter, like, they're big and dominating, and they can overwhelm players like Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford, Colton McKivitz. Like, even Aaron Banks will have trouble against these guys. So I feel like if the Niners have so much talent, even if you have 2 good corners and 3 good safeties, man, it's tough to cover all these guys for a couple seconds if you don't have the front 7, if you don't have the pass rush. But the Niners, their biggest weakness, so it's like it's hard to match up with the Niners' strength on offense, their weapons, even if you have good DBs and linebackers. But what you can do is overwhelm the Niners' weakness, which is their offensive line. And the one team that can overwhelm it the most is Philly. I mean, they did it instantly in the NFC Championship game set match. It was a first round TKO. We'll see if they can do it again. They don't have Javon Hargrave anymore, who's a really, 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 really good player, but the new dude's good too, Jalen Carter.
Yeah, Philly's interesting because it should have been expected that they would, quote unquote, start out slow. And even though they've started out slow, they're undefeated. It's not hard to go. I mean, it's not easy to go undefeated in this league. The 49ers
they're
are doing it.
They're figuring it out.
Right. So you've got a whole slew of young players that we knew were blue chip prospects, but they're still new to the NFL. So while they're figuring it out, they're finding a way to win these games. And you look at a guy like Hurts, he really I mean, this week, I think he started to a little bit, but they really haven't even ran him a ton yet. They're just trying to win from him passing. So once they start mixing that in and the offensive coordinator gets used to him, they can be even more explosive on offense. So I think Philly's interesting. I think they're a team in the second half that's actually going to look a lot better than they did in the first half, even if the record isn't perfect. That's still a game that is very, very intriguing to me for sure.
Well, the thing that's intriguing about Philly to me is that, they're a little different than last year.
Yeah.
They have DeAndre Swift now, and he's averaging 6.2 yards per carry right now. So that, I mean, he's a big addition. He's way better than Miles Sanders was. And if it wasn't for DeAndre Swift, oh yeah, he's really, really good. I mean, he's not Christian McCaffrey, but he also has 9 catches. So without him, they wouldn't be undefeated, because right now Jalen Hurts is 5 touchdowns, 3 picks, and a quarterback rating of 92, and he's averaging 3.4 yards per carry. So I don't know if the league's figured him out or whatever. I was always a little skeptical with Jalen Hurts. It's like, yeah, he's having a good season, but it's like one great season, and he's on the best team. And can he do it again? And now he got paid, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, Hurts, and a lot of people were really ready to crown Hurts and Lawrence. Lawrence, I think if you actually watch him play, there's a lot going on there that is not his fault. Receivers can't keep their feet in bounds. There's dropping a lot of passes. So I think it looks worse on paper for Lawrence than what the film is actually showing you. But either way, people were like, oh, these are top 7 guys. Yeah, probably right now, but I want to see it for another year before I'm fully sold on these guys. And right now it's, some good, some bad. We'll see how it goes.
Sudden Chaos says Cowboys were only able to put up 16 versus the Cardinals, and Cards put up 28. Do you think Cardinals O and D are better than ours? Dak is afraid of our D line. We are under his skin. You can see it on the field. I would agree with all of that.
Yeah, I think this is where I struggle a little bit. By the way, I'm not picking the Cowboys to beat the 49ers at all, but I struggle when choosing a team and saying, okay, well, that team beat them, we beat them, so that means we beat this other team. Matchups are matchups, and they're different for everybody. People have to also include Dallas was missing 3 of their 5 starting offensive linemen, and arguably their best 3. So you take away Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, and Brendel, and then throw in the backups. And do you think that game might have gone a little bit different with the Cardinals? I would say probably.
Yeah. Niners are 3.5-point favorites at home. 3.5-point favorites at home.
A little more than a pick 'em. I mean, it's basically what it is. I'm taking the 49ers.
I'm taking the Niners to cover that. I feel like there's too much Dallas optimism every year.
Dallas doesn't.
It's Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
It's Mike McCarthy.
I don't know. Dallas just doesn't. Terrible. Dallas is just not they're not a bad matchup for the 49ers. It's the opposite. The 49ers are an awful matchup for Dallas.